This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we're going to talk a little bit about choosing your state and what I mean by that exactly. So, one of the things that I go through in my connected coaching seminars is what's called an NLP communication model. Now, for those of you that are aware of NLP or not, I suppose my 60-second brief on NLP on two folds is that often, especially in the fitness industry, it's sold as this like way to market or sell to people. And I think the people that are in that fold of using NLP as like a sales strategy or something, that they're kind of missing the point. It's like learning martial art, but forgetting the art part of it and just learning how to beat people up. It's like that's the you're missing the point of the whole concept of that structural learning style or learning tool, so to speak. So NLP in it took me a long time to find something that I actually really aligned with, and so I work with the Coaching Room, which do seminars or do certifications around Australia. And I did a lot of reading, a lot of study leading up to my work with them. And Jay, my coach, is the co-owner of the Coaching Room. So I really like the way they do the NLP stuff. They do it also on a spiritual sense, not just a psychological sense. And they definitely don't do it from a sense of how to sell to people in the industry. Yeah, that's not the angle at all. So, in the short of it, NLP is the study of subjective experience, and so the NLP communication model is actually looking at how we interpret the world differently. It's a really simple way to look at that. I actually just stuck this in my because I talk about it in my seminars. I grab sound bites from my seminars and put it in the Mood Prep online group. And so, those of you that are in that group would have seen this, and you'd also hear me talk about it from the Melbourne seminar. Either way, so. The reason why I'm bringing this out is because what the NLP communication model will show is that there's an event, an external stimulus that occurs. We run it through what's called meta programs, and if you listen to a few of my podcasts, you heard me talk about a few of them before. Then we run it through filters, which are language, values, beliefs, decisions, memories, and time coding, right? And so we operate 60 different meta programs. We operate completely vast landscapes, different landscapes of language and values and beliefs and how we store our memories, etc. So already that we're observing this reality occurring, and we're already putting these filters on it, and then we go and delete, distort, and generalize based on our biases. And if you don't think you have a bias, then that probably in itself is a bias. So anyway, so after all that occurs, what happens is that we create a little movie in our mind, and then that movie is then filtered or laid over with our state. And this is what I'm getting at here is one of the things that I especially teach to athletes from the performance mindset concept is actually how to elicit a state that's going to allow them to move more into a state of flow or a state of control or whatever state specifically they're looking for to be able to replicate on the sporting field. You could do it with high performers in a public speaking sense. It doesn't matter. You can do it with people that just don't want to get angry at their kids for messing up their house, whatever the state is. But effectively, it's the whole idea of going, choose your state. And a lot of the time we think that we're just getting pulled left, right, and center, and that, our emotions just run us and we have no control over it. And this, I think, is up for open discussion. And I think that is important to have an open discussion about this, is because we have to be very careful to go, now I'm sad out of nowhere, I was thinking about the future, or I was thinking about the past, and now I'm sad, and that just happens. It's like, yeah, it does, but you also guided your thoughts that way for whatever reason, right? And there's reasons for that. And so when I talk to people, I'm like, you're able to choose your state. You're able to then, it's challenging, it's difficult, sure, and it takes a lot of awareness and a lot of self-control, yes, but you're actually able to somewhat shift and elicit a state within yourself at any point in time. And the way that I suppose I'm really referring to this is like, if you look at some people, and what they will do is that they will wait to achieve something in order to elicit that state, and they'll only give themselves that state whenever they actually achieve said thing. The problem is that they can only really work once. And so they achieve it and they're like, cool. And then the state dissipates because once again, maybe they hide their value behind achieving things. Some people might hide this state, this emotional state behind doing things for other people. But if they do things for themselves, they feel bad. Whereas some people might flip that around, and when they do things for other people, they feel like they're not giving themselves enough, and then they feel bad, etc. And so what this really refers to is like, do you put this positive or resourceful or enlightening state on the other side of achieving something? Because the truth and reality is that you can elicit this state at any point in time. At any point in time, there is no barrier besides ourselves to be able to be in this state at any point in time that you want. And the reason being is because all you need to do is to be able to remember a time where you felt that state, right? And go back to that moment, be able to really pull that moment to front of mind, be really able to, let's use an example while I'm talking. Let's say that, you do work in a position where you have to do public speaking and you have to influence an idea in order to get it past some people and get their approval, right? And you somewhat are a little bit anxious when it comes to, that's what you call it anxiousness when it comes to public speaking, right? But you remember one time, and you can remember this, one time where you absolutely just nailed a presentation. Like I'm talking nailed, the people were like, yep, let's do it straight away, this is awesome. We're really excited for this. Hey, you got the job. And you just felt unstoppable, like you could take on the world. And you get that state and you bring that state front of mind and you think about the feelings that you felt. You think about the sounds that you heard. You think about how you stood. You think about how you breathed. And you run through this whole checklist of exactly what emotional, physical, and somatic state that you were in at that point in time. And this is also called anchoring. This is a whole nother conversation that I can't fit into 10 minutes, so to speak. At least not another 3. Anyway, and by doing that, you can actually bring that state to the moment right now. And people will be like, well, that sort of sounds like you're kind of cheating a little bit, because then why wouldn't you just do that all the time? Which is a good question, for one. But two, it's like, well, bringing a resourceful state forward so that you can go forward and achieve and deal with every single situation that is somewhat challenging, or asking the most out of you and asking to bring the best of you forward. There is no reason why you shouldn't go back and elicit a state that you've felt unstoppable or bulletproof, or like Superman, Superwoman, whatever it might be. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that, because we're already eliciting states as that way anyway, because we will probably look at the future and think of something anxious, right? Or maybe something that we're anxious about, and then what we end up doing is something that's just distantly may never ever happen. We're in the moment feeling anxious. It's like you're already doing it. You're already going to your past and remembering something that you're like, oh man, that was such a beautiful day, and then your state changes. So you're already doing it. So why don't you make it conscious? Why don't you consciously think about the times where you were successful? What were you thinking? What were you doing? How were you standing? How were you breathing? How were you communicating to people? Was there power in your eyes? Was there fire in the belly? What was the sensations your body was feeling? Was time slowing down? Was everything bright? Can you make it high definition? Right? And then it's time to go. Then it's time to fucking press the go button. And see, this is the same thing. And I teach athletes to do this type of anchoring before they actually go to lift, or before they go to kick a football, or whatever it may be. It's like, what is the anchoring that we can create that's going to elicit a state of flow for you? So there's this calmness and trust and presentness to the whole situation. And so this is what it means when it talks about choosing your state. It's like, that's in your power. Unfortunately, people are often doing it unconsciously or subconsciously anyway, and what's actually occurring is that they're choosing, once again, sub or unconsciously, to elicit a state that is not resourceful, and then they go, see, this always happens. It's like, yep, I bet it fucking does. So there you go, team. How to choose your state. If you want to check it out, just Google NLP communication model. Something will pop up. Those of you in the Mood Prep online group, you would have seen I put that in there today. I thought that was an interesting topic that I think a few of you might like. Otherwise, if you want to check out the Mood Prep online group, check out the links in, I think it should be in the description of the podcast. Otherwise, davenixon.com.au/memberships. And I've also got a brand new coaching product for athletes and PTs coming out in the month of August, which I'm excited to share with you. But team, that's it. I'm done. Check those out. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unlearned.